He is up 87. More on these stories. Townhall.com.
One commercial. Come on.
WVBF is your hometown radio station. And one of the things we like to do to support people in your hometown is to run community announcements. If you do belong to a nonprofit group or organization, or if you're an official with a city or town government, send your community announcements along to our email address. It's safe, it's fast, and it allows us to get right back to you if we have a question. Send your community announcements to WVBF1530@hotmail.com. That's WVBF1530@hotmail.com. Thank you for listening. Your hometown radio station is AM 1530, WVBF, and 99.7 FM.
Okay. 305.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
234.
It's time for Middleboro Matters on WVBF 1530 AM and 99.7 FM. Hosting Joey Driscoll. Call in at 508-822-1106. And now, here is Joey Driscoll with Middleboro Matters.
And good morning and welcome to Middleboro Matters. I am Joey Driscoll. Today is Monday, March 23rd, 2026. As in Middleboro, things start to ramp up when it comes to election season. The elections are in just a couple of weeks. On the show today, we'll look at the what is going to be on the ballot and things like that. We'll talk about dog licenses as well, because this is something I kind of missed. I didn't talk about it. Haven't talked about it. I know I try to at least talk about it a few times during the first part of every year, but haven't talked about it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So we have that as well, and much more stuff today. We'll have our sports segment, maybe a transportation segment as well if we have time for today's program. But your phone calls. 508-822-1106 is the number if you want to call in and talk about what is on your mind this morning. 508-822-1106 is the number. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about on the show today. Now let's start off by talking a little bit about some events that are going to be coming up this week, especially some events coming up when it comes to the election. Now, this week, on Wednesday, there will be a Middleboro Candidates Night, and that is slated for March the 25th. And if you want to hear from those who are on the ballot for the April 4th town election, the Middleboro Rotary Club and the Mascot Week, they will be once again sponsoring a Candidates Night. And this is to allow citizens to hear from local office seekers and to ask them questions. This forum is going to be held on Wednesday, the 25th of March, beginning at 7 p.m., and that's going to be at the Middleboro Council on Aging, 558 Plymouth Street. All candidates in contested races for Select Board, School Committee, and Housing Authority, they've been invited to speak. Robert Sakay of the Middleboro Rotary Club, who does a lot of these kinds of events as moderator and does a very, very good job at that as well, will be moderator once again for this event. The public is invited to attend, listen, and ask questions. The forum will be aired live on Middleboro Cable Access Community Television, MacCam, rebroadcast multiple times as well before the April 4th election. Will be covered in Nemasket Week and online at nemasketweek.com. If you have a question but you cannot attend, submit it to Nemasket Week editor Sam Tucker at editor@nemasketweek.com. So that is coming up this week. The Candidates Night, Wednesday night. So if you're in Middleboro and want to go out and check this event out, it will be Wednesday night at the Middleboro COA. Some other events happening this week. In Lakeville, there will be another Lakeville Lions CPR course. Learn how to save life at the Lakeville Lions Club monthly CPR classes. These CPR AED courses are held at the group's clubhouse, which is at 170 Main Street. That includes basic life support for professionals and Heart Saver for the general public. The next course, that's basic life support, that will be on April the 7th. That's at 6:30 p.m. Registration is required, and the course costs $35. The fee can be paid with exact change or a check that can be made out to CPRFD. To register and find future course dates, you can visit the club's website. And one other event as well going on. Also in Lakeville, at the Public Library. To kick off April's National Poetry Month, Lakeville will be welcoming in Nigerian-American poet and storyteller Barry Enya on Thursday, the 2nd of April. That is going to be at 6:30 p.m. Author of Pulse of Becoming, The Path of Infinite Transformation. Enya's poetry has been deeply influenced by his experiences, giving him a unique perspective of people and their struggles. His writing hopes to provide a path for those seeking healing and reinvention of themselves as they work through the challenges in life. This event is free and open to the public again on Thursday, April 2nd at 6:30 p.m. at the Lakeville Public Library. One other thing I want to talk about here and mention before we take our first commercial break is our blood drives. Let's get that up. There we go. We have one blood drive coming up this weekend. And we'll also be talking about, probably by Friday, we'll be talking about our April blood drives. But we have one coming up this weekend for the month of the remainder of March. That is coming up on Sunday, March 29th, the Mayflower Lodge, AF and AM, 46 South Main Street. That's in Middleboro, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for that blood drive. And if you're unable to make that blood drive, there are blood donation centers in Raynham and also in Kingston. To sign up for that blood drive in Middleboro, go to redcross.org. All right, so 11:14 a.m. Let's take our first commercial break right now. When we come back, we're going to switch over to a little bit of sports. Kind of go over what's been going on in March Madness. I'll give you an update on my bracket. On the men's side, I'm doing okay. Not perfect. Obviously, no one on the men's side of the tournament now who filled out a bracket is perfect. There are only 166 perfect brackets left in the entire tournament, and they're all on the women's side. Looks like there could be some perfect brackets left once we get to the end. Maybe we'll see what happens in the Sweet 16 on the women's side. There haven't been that many upsets on the women's side as much as the men's. It's been a couple of big upsets on the men's side, which has busted a lot of brackets. So we'll talk about that when we come back from our commercial break. So 11:15 a.m. Let's take our first commercial break right now. When we come back, we'll have our sports segment, and we'll also break down some important Red Sox stuff for this week as well, because the Red Sox season gets underway. Excuse me. The Red Sox season gets underway this week, so we'll talk about it here as well. Open phone lines as well, 508-822-1106. We will be right back.
Hi neighbor, Middleboro Gas and Electric would like to share a quick safety tip with you. Whether you're planting shrubs or putting in a new mailbox, DigSafe will help locate underground pipes and wires on your property and mark them to help prevent any damage. Before you dig, you must call 811 for any project that requires digging, drilling, excavating, grading, or trenching. A damaged gas line may create an explosion hazard that could result in loss of service, severe property damage, or worse. Don't take a chance. Call 811 before you dig.
278.
Hi, I'm Chris Keach of the Morning Wake Up News here at WVBF. My good friend Joey Driscoll has an amazing program all about Middleboro Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's called Middleboro in Review. He talks about sports. He talks about local events in Middleboro and anything of interest in Middleboro and beyond. So join him, Middleboro in Review with Joey Driscoll, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. only here at AM 1530 WVBF and at 99.7 FM.
Okay. 236. Yeah. Okay, we are back, 11:18 a.m., and we're going to switch over to our sports segment here on the program today. 508-822-1106 is the number to call, 508-822-1106. And I want to mention this. WWE, please resist the urge to book Tom Brady. Please do that. Resist the urge. Do not do it. Do not do it. As much as I want to see Tom Brady get beat up and punched and beat up by a bunch of wrestlers for calling wrestling cute, don't book Tom Brady. Please don't do it. Apparently, there was some news this morning that those two sides are in negotiation for an appearance. Just don't do it. Please. Just don't. Anyway, moving on from that. All right. March Madness. March Madness. Well, it is certainly living up to its name. Some big names, some big teams have been eliminated from the tournament, and some big names are still in the tournament. We'll look at my bracket here. My top bracket, with the top percentage, is actually a tie between two of my brackets. One bracket I have Purdue winning the national championship, and that's at the 97% accuracy right now. 97% accuracy. And then on the other one, also 97% accuracy, I have Duke winning the national championship. Now, I feel a little bit more confident in Purdue winning the national championship than I do Duke winning the national championship. And that's not really saying that much because I'm not really, confident in either of these teams winning the national championship. I am more confident in a team like Michigan winning the national championship or Arizona winning the national championship. If you wanted me to pick a dark horse to win the national championship, I would say St. John's would be that dark horse. St. John's has done very, very well so far in the tournament. They're in the Sweet 16. We'll talk about St. John's in a minute. But some of my top brackets are within the top 97% there. Also, I have a couple more that are within the 90% tile as well. My worst performing bracket, 6.6% accuracy. So there you go. On the other side of the equation there. Not too accurate with one of the brackets. I filled out a couple of brackets that were kind of like chaos kind of brackets, like 16 seeds beating ones and things like that. That almost happened with Duke. That almost happened with Duke, but it did not. Siena could not get the job done there. But it's been a kind of an interesting March Madness on the men's side so far. And there are no perfect brackets remaining on the men's side. 0. There is another opportunity to fill out brackets. I think it starts today, and that is the ESPN Second Chance Challenge as well. So you have another chance to fill out 25 more brackets to see if you can get the championship right and things like that, and have a perfect bracket in the second chance thing as well, which I believe it starts today. So there you go. On the women's side, my brackets are doing a little bit worse, but my national champion is still alive. And that would be UConn. And I suspect UConn will go pretty far in the tournament. They could be an Elite 8 team. They could be even a Final Four team. Just by the way, I think UConn is going to go pretty far in this tournament. Now, I'm not going to say that they're shooing for the national championship. Yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they've been beating teams by 40 points or more the majority of the season. But March Madness doesn't get its name because, it's, run of the mill. It is madness. So we'll see what happens with this one. Because UConn could get eliminated. And it would be the shock of the century, in my opinion. We'll have to see. But UConn's doing pretty well right now. Most of my brackets are within 85% accuracy, which is very, very good. Because UConn is still alive. One of my brackets, my least performing bracket, actually has UConn winning. But it's more of a chaos bracket. I picked some 16s to win, and that obviously didn't happen in the tournament this year. But I have one bracket that has been completely eliminated from, doing that good, and that I picked UConn to win the national championship on 23 of 25 of my brackets. On the other two, I picked Rhode Island. And I picked Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's still alive. Rhode Island, not so much. They're eliminated from the tournament. And Alabama is still on both sides of the tournament, I believe. So that is very good for them. Alabama on the men's side, they have been very, very good. I've been following them a little bit more than the women's tournament there. Nebraska also is a team to keep an eye on. But let's talk a little bit about the schedule as to what you should expect for the Sweet 16 on the men's side. Now, the Sweet 16 doesn't start until Thursday, so you have a couple of days off from March Madness. But some of the matchups are as follows. Texas, number 11 Texas, which has been I'm going to put this in air quotes, Cinderella of the tournament. In my opinion, they're not really a Cinderella, and a lot of people have been saying that they're really not a Cinderella. Yes, they're an 11 seeded team, but they are not a Cinderella, in my opinion. A lot of people expected them to do pretty well in this tournament, and they are. They're in the Sweet 16. They're facing off against Purdue. I think Texas's journey ends there. I think they will lose in the Sweet 16 to Purdue. Iowa takes on Nebraska. I think Nebraska will beat Iowa. Yes, Iowa beat a number 1 seed. They beat Florida. But Nebraska, I think, will win. I think Nebraska will beat Iowa. Arkansas versus Arizona. Arizona is a lot of people's pick to win the national championship. And I think kind of looking at it now as we go through the tournament here, I think they're becoming a team that I would say I would agree with most people on when it comes to the winner of the national championship. I think Arizona is a good pick for that. I think they will beat Arkansas. And then a game that I'm not even going to try to predict because it's just so even, I think, in my opinion. And that's the Fighting Illini, the Illinois, taking on Houston. I think Houston has a slight edge on that. But we'll see. That's day 1 of the Sweet 16. Day 2 of the Sweet 16. St. John's and Duke. I'm going for the upset here. I'm going to say St. John's beats Duke. And a lot of people are going to be like, what? My exhibit A for that is take a look what happened in round 1. If we go back to round 1, Duke should have been able to take care of business against Siena. They won by 6 points against Siena. If you're a number 1 seed, if you're the overall number 1 seed in the entire tournament, you should be beating a 16 seed by 30 points or something like that. Beating them by 6 is not indicative of a team that I would say has the upper hand. Yes, they kind of recovered a little bit in the second round, but I think St. John's can beat Duke, and I think they will beat Duke. Alabama and Michigan. Now, this is going to be a tough matchup. I really don't know who to predict here. I think both teams are very, very good. I'm going to go with Michigan, but I'm not confident on it. Like I said, Alabama has done very, very well in the tournament. And I would not be surprised if they go to the Elite 8 and beat Michigan. We will see. Again, not confident on Michigan winning, but that's my pick for right now. UConn and Michigan State. I think Michigan State will beat UConn. I think UConn has done very well in this tournament, but they kind of suffer from the same problems Duke has had just earlier on. They were bad late, and Duke was just bad in the first round of the tournament. So I think Michigan State beats UConn. And then Tennessee, I think Tennessee will lose to Iowa State. It will probably be a very close game, but I think that's what will happen. We'll go over the women's side when we come back from our news break. We'll be right back.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall.
What do you think, Ron? Michigan or Alabama, or is it just too close?
To obliterate
Yeah.
Iranian power plants. White House correspondent.
If Alabama
Greg
hits their
over the
threes, they
weekend,
can hang with
the president set
Michigan,
a
you can
Monday
beat them.
deadline for Iran
If
to
Alabama
fully
doesn't hit their
reopen the
threes,
Strait of Hormuz to international
they're going to
shipping.
lose
But
bigly.
in a morning social media post, he
It's-
said U.S.
it's how they do,
Iranian
like,
talks are underway.
the way they
He was
beat
extending his
Texas
deadline
Tech by
5
such a
days.
large margin is they hit their threes like nobody's business. But if they don't, if they run cold, they'll lose to Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they do it like they did the last night, they can beat Michigan. All depends.
We will see, because they have a shot. They have a shot on both sides.
Yep.
So we'll have to see.
Well, I think probably, I don't know who they're playing today on the women's side, but I would imagine this will end their run. I think they're playing a pretty good opponent. And women's basketball there's still a big gap between the elite.
They're playing Louisville.
Well, that's on Louisville's court.
Okay, yes.
Nice to have you.
Yeah, good luck.
Better luck next year.
Yeah, they're in Louisville. No, nice to see us at Syracuse as well, though. Yeah, good job, Syracuse, making it.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million, you deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
The head of the International Energy Agency says global economy is facing a major threat because of the Iran war.
Bucky Zero has been at the center of efforts to keep supplies of oil and gas flowing around the world. About 1/5 of the world's oil and gas is transported through the Strait of Hormuz, and the Asia-Pacific region is particularly reliant on these supplies. As a sign of nervousness about the possible escalation of the war, stock markets in Asia have fallen. The Kospi of South Korea was down more than 5% in early trading. It had Nikkei just under 5%.
And that's the BBC's Maura Fogarty. Italy's Conservative Premier Giorgia Meloni is facing a pivotal political test. Comes in the form of a 2-day referendum dealing with judicial reform. The vote began yesterday, has transformed into a broader judgment on her leadership both at home in Italy and in foreign affairs. News and analysis at townhall.com. Well, once again, the NCAA tournament is producing upsets and results that no one can predict.
No perfect men's NCAA tournament bracket.
On the men's side of this.
Millions of entries in the ESPN bracket
Sure.
challenge. And
Women's side is tough to pull an
on
upset.
the NCAA's official
There hasn't really
website.
been.
The end came when number 6 Tennessee beat number 3 seed Virginia in the 44th game of the tournament. Sunday started with 2 perfect brackets left in the ESPN contest and 4 on the NCAA's official website, which tracks the ESPN challenge along with 6 contests run by other outlets. ESPN had 26.5 million entries and 36 million were tracked by the NCAA website. I'm
Wow.
Kevin Coolbaugh.
The Supreme Court is taking up a case out of Mississippi.
It's kind of surprising. Like,
over whether states-
usually when you hear about Tennessee in the tournament, it's the women. Not
Yes.
this year. It's the men this
No,
year.
it's the men. I was
Yeah.
watching some of that game last night.
Men this year. Hey man, here you go. All right. All right, good. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we are back here as the music there ends. And before we get back to our March Madness, I'm going to talk about the men's side, the women's side here in a second. I want to get to this real quick because I did mention that we were going to talk about this, and that is the ballot for the election coming up on April the 4th. And it is as follows. Again, the election is April 4th in Middleboro. For select board for a 3-year term. Vote for 2. The 3 names that are on the ballot are Mark Germain, Thomas White, and Tracy Craig McGee. Those are the 3 names for the select board. Vote for 2. It's a 3-year term. Gas and Electric Commissioner Ellen M. Farley Wiley is running for re-election and running unopposed. And that is vote for 1 for 3 years for Gas and Electric Commissioner. And by the way, select board, Mark Germain and Thomas White are running for re-election. Tracy Craig McGee is also running in that election, not for re-election though. School committee, Jessica Chartoff running for re-election, Alan Frawley running for re-election, Alexander Cook running as well, Leah Machado running, Sean Mokler running, Christian Nicole Phillips, there we go, running for school committee, and his name's on the ballot, but I believe he has announced that he is not running for school committee, and that is Robert Sullivan. He will be running for. He is not on the finance committee ballot, but he also is on the finance committee, and he'll be focusing on the finance committee, so that his name's on the ballot when it comes to the school committee, but I don't believe he is running there at this point. He mentioned that he had announced that at a school committee meeting. Okay. Also, this is for vote for 3 for a 3-year term for the school committee there that I just mentioned. School committee, vote for 1 year term. Vote for 1. Kimberly Ann Redlawn running unopposed, and I believe this is the. I don't know if this is the new seat that is up, or if it's the unexpired seat given up by Ezekiel Lewis. I know that that's one of the seats there, and also there's a new seat on the school committee as well, because that board has been expanded by 1. Board of Assessors, for a 3-year term, vote for 1. Paula M. Burdick is running for re-election unopposed. Finance Committee, vote for 3 for a 3-year term. Alan Robert Kirschner, running for re-election. William Phillips, running for re-election. And Nathan Demers, also running for the Finance Committee. Planning Board, Alan Frawley, running for a 5-year term. Vote for 1 for the Planning Board, and there's only 1 name on the ballot, Alan Frawley, running unopposed. Park Commissioners, 2 names on the ballot for a 3-year term. Vote for 2. Dawn Salvery, running for re-election, and Judith Ann Bigelow Costa running for re-election as well. Housing Authority, Nancy Thomas and Sarah K. Person running in that race. Housing Authority for a 5-year term. Vote for one. So we have several big races happening there. Breaking down our election information. Again, the election is Saturday, April the 4th. Last day to register to vote is Wednesday of this week. So that's coming up as well. And some of the other election dates, by the way. September 1st will be the state primary. That is going to be last day to register to vote for that one. It's going to be Saturday, August 22nd. And then the state election, the midterms for 2026, is Tuesday, November 3rd. And the last day to register to vote is Saturday, the 24th of October. Polling places. Precinct 1, Oak Point Clubhouse, 202 Oak Point Drive in Middleboro. Precincts 2, 4, and 6, Middleboro High School, 71 East Grove Street in Middleboro. Precinct 3, Middleboro Fire Station, South Middleboro Fire Station, 566 Wareham Street in Middleboro. Precinct 5 and 5A is the Council on Aging, 558 Plymouth Street in Middleboro. Precinct 7 and 7A, the John T. Nichols Jr. Middle School, 112 Tiger Drive in Middleboro as well. Polling hours for the annual town election is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So there you go. And another thing I was going to mention as well is Middleboro and their dog licenses. The registration period for dog licenses started back on January the 1st. Again, I didn't mention it. I haven't talked about it this year. Usually I would already by this time, I would have talked about it like 5 times already, I think. That would usually what I would be doing. But I didn't talk about it, I don't think, at all until today. The registration period ends next Tuesday. So you haven't licensed your dog, definitely do so because, again, the registration period is ending next Tuesday. That is the 3-month grace period to renew your dog. Dog licenses that are renewed after, so between like April 1st and the 30th of April, will be assessed a late fee of $10 per dog. Dog license is not renewed after the 1st of May. Before the 1st of May, they're subject to a $50 fine. Late fees and citation fines are in addition to dog license fees. New dogs, if you have a new dog that you haven't licensed, those can be licensed at any time without incurring a late fee. And documentation that you need is a certificate of current rabies vaccination, certificate of spraying and neutering, and dog license payment made payable to the town of Middleboro, including self-addressed envelope. And the fees for new and renewal of dog licenses are as follows. Male, unaltered, $15. Female, unaltered, $15. A neutered male, $10. Sprayed female, $10. Owner, 70 and older, is free. Anyone who is 70 and older, you can license your dog for free. Again, we talked about the late fee. April 1st through 30th is $10, and then the citation fee of $50 after the 1st of May. Amount of dogs, only 4 can be licensed per household. A kennel license is required for more than 4 dogs. So there you go. Wanted to talk about that, wanted to mention that. Okay. Back to our March Madness information here. And we're also going to break down the MILB and the Red Sox once again, because those seasons get underway by the end of this week. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and very interesting stuff for the Red Sox this week when it comes to who they're starting the season off against. So we'll talk about that in a second. But we are going to go back to our March Madness. On the women's side, This is day 2 of round 2. After today, round of 16 will be secured. We'll find out who's in the round of 16 after today. It gets underway at 12 p.m. So in about 15 minutes from now, Alabama and Louisville will tip off in Fort Worth. And that is going to be a really interesting matchup. Alabama does have a shot. They do. However, Louisville is a higher seed, and they have a lot of great talent on that team. So it's going to be a tough one for Alabama. It really will be. Another interesting game. The one upset that we've seen the entire tournament, in my opinion, the one upset. I don't know if you can call it an upset. I don't know if you can call 10 being a 7 an upset, depending on who these two teams are. But Virginia is taking on Iowa. Virginia is a 10 seed. Virginia has done very well in this tournament. I believe Virginia was one of the first 4 teams, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look back. Here. That's not what I want. There we go. Let me look back here just to make sure. Yes, they were. They were a first 4 team. So I would consider that an upset. Them to get into the round of 16 like this. So I would consider that an upset. I don't think a lot of people expected this, but they're in the round of 16. They're in the round of 32. I mean, sorry, and a chance to make it to the round of 16. They're not going to. They are facing Iowa. Iowa will beat them. Almost guaranteed, I think, in my opinion. Another interesting game, Notre Dame taking on Ohio State. That should be an interesting matchup. Kentucky takes on West Virginia. That's basically an even game, I think, in my opinion. I'd love to see West Virginia win. I think Kentucky might have the upper hand, but we'll have to see who wins that matchup. Syracuse, great knowing you in the tournament. You did well in the first round. Yeah, you're not getting past UConn, though. Vanderbilt should beat Illinois. We'll see what happens there. South Carolina should take care of USC, and UCLA should take care of Oklahoma State. So there is your day 2 of the round of 32. You're not going to see many surprises. I don't think. You might see one surprise. I could see Notre Dame doing well against Ohio State. That's the only surprise I would say that could happen in the tournament today. All these other ones, I suspect the 1 seeds will win, and it won't be that close for a lot of these games, I think, in my opinion. Especially the UConn game. The way UConn's been playing, UConn is a 35.5 point favorite over Syracuse. So, I think if Syracuse somehow keeps it below 30 points, that will be great for them. And that will be a little bit of a shock to everybody else. But UConn definitely has a shot at probably winning by multiple points. Okay, the Red Sox. They will be finishing their spring training this week. They got a couple more games left, and they happen to be against one team. It is the Minnesota Twins. They have a game today and a game tomorrow, and they switch between each side of Fort Myers. Today, they are in the Minnesota Twins side of Fort Myers. Tomorrow, they will be back at home at JetBlue Park to finish the year, the spring training season. But you still got, if you're down there in Florida, you still got some great baseball to keep an eye on as well. You have your Fort Myers minor league team I'm forgetting the name of the team off the top of my head right now. We'll get to that in a second. But they'll be starting their season in about a week or so. So if you're in Fort Myers and are looking for some baseball, well, you won't have to wait too long for that. But the Red Sox will start their regular season out in Cincinnati, taking on former manager Terry Francona. So that'll be a very interesting matchup early on as well, and a tough matchup immediately after that as well. They have a 3-game series against the Houston Astros, who have had a very good offseason, kind of loading up again. And Houston Astros are going to be something to watch, I think, this season, because they did very well in the offseason, picking up some very big names. So we'll have to see what happens. And some news coming in this morning for the Red Sox. Nate Eaton will start in Worcester. That is news that is broke this morning. Nate Eaton has been optioned to Worcester, so he'll start the season off in Worcester. That is clearing a path for Andrew Monasterio to make the Boston Red Sox. So we will see what happens there this week with that. For the minor leagues, coming up on Friday, Worcester gets underway. They'll take on Syracuse, 4:05 p.m. They'll be at home for that one. Double-A now. We'll go to Double-A. The season gets underway on Thursday, April the 2nd. But Portland is not involved in that. They don't play until Friday. They will play against Somerset. They'll be going to Somerset, New Jersey to play the Somerset Patriots, the New York Yankees affiliate. I also want to mention New Hampshire is another team that people will probably be keeping an eye on as well. The Fisher Cats, they will be at home to start the year against a team that I have seen live at their ballpark in Binghamton, New York last summer. That's the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. That is going to be a fun matchup. And this is a matchup, actually, when I went to go see them, these were the two teams who were facing off. It was the Fisher Cats and the Rumble Ponies. So that's going to be a really great matchup. 6:03 start for that one. In High A, you have, let me get to this. April 2nd is the beginning of the year for High A. And it will be Greenville taking on Greensboro. Greensboro was one of the best teams in this division last year. So I don't expect much to be different this year. So it'll be a tough matchup to start right off the bat for Greensville. And finally, in the Single A, we have, as I mentioned, anyone who's in Fort Myers who wants to watch some baseball, you'll get that chance here on April the 3rd at this point. April 3rd, they'll be starting their year, and that is the Fort Myers team. And there it is. The Fort Myers, okay, there we go. Fort Myers, I don't know the name of the team. Fort Myers Mighty Muscles. There we go. We have a phone call. Let's take that phone call and say good morning, caller. You're on Middleboro Matters. Go ahead, caller. Okay, not there. Okay. I'll turn that down. The Fort Myers Mighty Muscles. 7:05 p.m. start on Friday. They'll take on Clearwater. And we'll talk a little bit about the Red Sox affiliate, the Salem Ridgejacks. They're taking on Delmarva. The Delmarva Shorebirds, who are the Baltimore Orioles affiliate. So you got a little bit of a AL East affiliate action there to start the year in Single A. All right, 5 minutes left to go in the program today. We're going to finish the show off by talking a little bit about voice actors. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, or just before we got on here with Ron, that I learned something this week that I did not know. I did not know that during the first season of the Curious George television animated series, that William H. Macy was the voice of the narrator. I had not known that. I also forgot as well with the Curious George movie, the animated film that came out in 2006, The Man in the Yellow Hat. That was Will Ferrell. I did not know that. Well, I knew that, but I forgot it because I had forgot about that film because I hadn't seen it in such a long time. So Will Ferrell was in that film. I know the movie from the song from Jack Johnson, which is a great song that was pretty big and won a couple of awards as well. Upside Down by Jack Johnson. It received a Satellite Award nomination for Best Original Song. And some of the people who were in that movie as well, voice acting, it was very good, impressive cast. Again, we talked about Will Ferrell. Dick Van Dyke was in it as well. David Cross, who's awesome. David Cross was in Alvin and the Chipmunks as well. So he's really good. Frank Welker, big name in voice acting as well. He played George. He played Curious George. So just a great character there. Of course, Drew Barrymore was also in it as well. Eugene Levy, Ed O'Ross. So some big names there. Drew Barrymore, really big names there in that film, voice acting. Another film that is a pretty another thing that I wanted to mention as well. Thomas and Friends, or Thomas the Tank Engine, had a huge list of very big narrators as well. I could go on and on talking about that, but some of the big names that everyone knows, it started off with Ringo Starr. He did the first 2 series of that show as well. Talked about George Carlin. George Carlin was a very interesting option, but they went with him. He did several series as well. He also redubbed the first 2 series for American audiences as well. So he was there for quite a while, from 91 to 96. Then they went and got Alec Baldwin, which, again, another interesting choice. But it worked. I think it worked out. He narrated series 5 and 6 as well. They also had some special guests who did some narration for Thomas the Tank Engine. Names like Michael Angelis and Pierce Bronson as well. Pierce Bronson, he narrated the 2008 special, The Great Discovery, for both the UK and US releases. Some other audio narrators as well, pre-television series, before the 1984 series came out. You had Julia Lang in the 50s. You had Johnny Morris. So you had some pretty big names there narrating for Curious George. And one other thing I wanted to mention as well, and I think I'll talk about, wanted to mention All Dogs Go to Heaven as well, because that's a very impressive 2 movies there with some impressive voice actors, but I don't have time. One thing I'll mention here is I'll talk about All Dogs Go to Heaven on Sunday with Dawn. We'll continue this conversation on Sunday. But actually, no. Don even be on the show next week? Don is going to Florida. So I don't know if he'll be on the show next week. So it'll just be me. It might just be me. So we'll give everyone the actual answer on that on Sunday on Friday. I believe it's just me on Sunday. Anyway, Garfield, real quick. The original movie, which came out, I believe it was 2004, had Bill Murray in it, and that was probably the best option they could have ever went with. I think Bill Murray did such a good job as Garfield. He really did. It was really funny. And some of the people they also got for the movie as well was awesome as well. And then, the newest Garfield, I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good. Chris Pratt does the voice. He does the voice for Mario as well. It's like to steal a quote from not a quote, but like a saying from the Avengers movies. He's collecting the affinity stones of voice acting when it comes to animated films, because that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's collecting the Infinity Stones. Because he's done obviously Mario and now Garfield. And now, he probably does a good job. I haven't seen the movie, but he probably does a good job. But definitely not as good as Bill Murray. All right, that'll do it for today's program. I hope everyone enjoyed today's program. I will be back on Friday for another edition of Hometown Talk, and also again on Sunday. Potentially, it might just be me. I'm not sure. Like I said, I will have an answer for everyone on Friday for sure, and we'll talk that as well. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye. This away. Okay. Oh, it's not what I want at all. We played that. There we go.
We are AM 1530, WVBF, Middleboro.